Can bettas and angelfish live together? Spoiler, it's a disaster waiting to happen, but today I'm going to show you why these two fish should never share a tank. Let's dive in. We know that bettas and angelfish can't live in the same tank, but here's a couple reasons why. First off, tank size. Although they share the same water parameters, with them being a freshwater fish species, each would have different tank requirements. A 20-gallon tank for a young angelfish and a 55-gallon tank for adults. While a betta could fit at these tank sizes, an angelfish would not do well in the smaller tanks that you usually see bettas placed in, which are normally under 20 gallons. Second up is aggression. Both species are aggressive in behavior and have various personalities, and both also feature long fins, so fin nipping is imminent in most cases. The main difference is that angelfish are much larger than bettas, so in an altercation, the angelfish will win by size alone. Breeding is also a factor, as angelfish are extra aggressive during breeding, so a breeding male and a female angelfish can spell trouble for the betta and your other tank mates in your aquarium. Since you know why they shouldn't be kept together, let's talk about each species of fish separately, starting with the betta. Betta, aka the Siamese fighting fish, had earned this namesake for their signature aggressive nature. For males, their aggression would usually be directed at their own species, especially during the breeding season, but that doesn't mean they can't thrive in a community tank. It really depends on the individual personalities of the fish and the conditions of the aquarium. A good practice is to keep just one male betta in the tank to avoid any conflict if you don't want a war zone in that aquarium. A good tank mate would be a non-aggressive species that wouldn't provoke the betta. Non-nippy tetras and certain rasporas can coexist peacefully with male bettas. Females, on the other hand, can be less aggressive than their male counterparts, but that doesn't mean that this behavior should be taken lightly. However, a lot of fish keepers would go for the males for their attractive physical appearance. If you'd like to know more, there's a lot of info online about female bettas and care guides that are a little more in depth. You can check out my blog post in the card above. I'll make a video in the future all about it. Bettas thrive in shallow, freshwater habitats and have developed a specialized way of breathing. They can gulp air from the surface of the water. This is one of the things that makes them hardy, and it helps them survive in less than ideal conditions, which is why they can be found in smaller tanks most of the time. Speaking of which, they can thrive in a 5-gallon tank, and it's important to maintain good water quality through water changes and a good and reliable filter. With a little planning and observation, they can thrive in almost any environment. Both the male and female bettas bring a lot to your tank, so do consider having them in your aquarium, just not with an angelfish. And speaking of, angelfish are the stunning medium-sized South American fish species from the cichlid family, and they've captured the hearts of fish keepers from all over the world. They've got graceful and elegant bodies, and they're not just your average aquarium fish, no. They can be compared to supermodels in the aquarium world, but what makes them so special? First off, these fish have a striking appearance, and they come in many colors, all of them having these iconic long dorsal and anal fins. They look like flowing dresses while they swim gracefully through the water. Their unique body shape makes them suited for tall tanks, so the height of their fins can be accommodated. A full-grown angelfish can stretch over 6 inches long and stand up to 10 inches tall. If you plan to put this fish in your tank, a 20-gallon tank is a good minimum for a juvenile without other fish, but a 55-gallon tank would be best so that the fish can thrive and be kept with others. Angelfish are considered to be semi-aggressive, especially during breeding season. They can be quite territorial and give their tank mates a run for their money, so you need to plan out your tank setup and inhabitants very carefully to create a peaceful environment. These species are omnivores, so these fish enjoy fish flakes, pellets, greens, and meat protein pieces. They've got relatively small mouths, but despite this, they've got a big appetite, so make sure that you're not housing any nanofish that can turn into an angelfish snack. Okay, I know I'm saying not to put them together, but I know a number of you are going to try anyway, which is why you're watching this video, of course. So, how the heck can you pull it off? Here's some good practices. Although they don't guarantee absolute peace in the aquarium, these would prevent frequent fights from your fish and are going to help avoid turning your tank into a combat zone. First, go big. A good way to help bettas and angelfish thrive together is by having a bigger tank. A 6 to 8 foot long tank of 75 plus gallons are going to help these species live together, but they're still not recommended as tank mates. Also, keep in mind that the angelfish might visually overpower the betta in this case. Keep in mind, breeds matter. If you keep the angels on the smaller size and the bettas on the more athletic side, this will increase your chance of success. Opt for a plakat or a short fin betta breed as they're faster and can get away. And don't purchase the larger angelfish breeds like the Ultim angelfish. The next most important thing you can do is get your parameters right. It's a good thing that angelfish and bettas thrive in the same conditions, so maintain a temperature of above 70 degrees Fahrenheit and a neutral pH of 7. Both species prefer a low flow water condition, so consider the appropriate filter for them. Keep in mind that bettas prefer the warmer temperatures at 78 degrees, while angelfish prefer it slightly cooler. Next, start with young fish. Younger angelfish do not have the same aggressive territoriality as the adults, so these are going to be a safer bet to house with the bettas. As a matter of fact, letting your fish grow up together might be a solution to avoid any fights, although they do mature and might still exhibit aggressiveness towards one another. Female bettas and single angelfish. Female bettas are known to be less aggressive and their shorter fins are less susceptible to damage. Paired angelfish can be more aggressive than a single specimen, so following that knowledge, it's best to keep a school of female bettas and a single angelfish if you're to keep both species in your tank. Next, you're going to want to monitor regularly. As an aquarist, checking your fish regularly is essential no matter what. Not only if they're still alive, but one should consider their overall health. Most especially if you're dealing with community tanks and species that aren't usually housed together like the angelfish and bettas. These two are a risky combination, so you should monitor them closely in the first few weeks after they're introduced. If you'll be doing this in an angelfish betta tank, you should position your aquarium in a spot where you can easily observe it throughout the day. This way you can catch any signs of trouble early on. Angelfish are known for their territorial nature, and combining this with a more mild-mannered and smaller betta can spell trouble. Fin flaring or chasing are indicators of aggression, so watch out for these. Feeding time is usually when tensions rise, so be extra careful during meals. Any signs of bullying or nipping would mean that you might need to intervene and break up territories or even separate the two species if necessary. Taking action early prevents serious injuries. And speaking of food, a good practice is to have your food scattered in different areas of the tank, and you're also going to need to consider their diet. Bettas are carnivorous while angelfish are more omnivorous, so be mindful of what you're feeding them. Let's talk about live plants. Live plants enhance aquarium aesthetics, promote fish health, and help the tank with water conditions. But one more great reason to have live plants is they help reduce aggression by breaking lines of sight among other fish species. They provide essential hiding spots for security during threats and breeding. Larger plants like the Amazon sword or the Vallisneria are good options, and you'd want to add smaller plants and floating ones as well. Artificial plants are another option, but avoid any firm plastic decorations as they might damage the fins of either fish in the tank. Let's talk caves and structures. Having a good hardscape is great because it can also break the line of sight among the fish species. This also gives your fish a spot to relax or hide. Decor like rocks and driftwood can provide a haven for fish when stressed out. Ensure that the ornaments are tank safe and don't introduce any harmful chemicals to your tank. Also ensure that you double check your decor for any sharp edges that can potentially harm your fish. Dither fish. If you're dealing with some aggressive fish in your tank, adding more dither fish can help. These little swimmers keep things moving, making it harder for bullies to pick on anybody. Go for active schooling fish that swim at different levels like Cory catfish for the bottom or rainbow fish for the midsection. Just make sure they vibe well with your angelfish and bettas, and steer clear of any tiny fish that can end up as snacks. Medium-sized social fish like mollies are also a solid choice to keep the peace. I've actually got a video about ditherfish on this channel, and I'll leave it in a card for you above so you can check it out. If your angelfish and bettafish aren't getting along, you might be facing a bit of a situation that could lead to some serious animal welfare. The best move is to separate them or find a new home for one of the species. If you've got a spare tank for quarantining or treating sick fish, that's perfect. But if not, don't sweat it. An emergency option like a clean bucket can work in a pinch. Just make sure that it hasn't been used for anything toxic beforehand. Once you've got them separated, it's time to think about a long-term solution. The first of that might be just trying a tank separator. If you're thinking of keeping both angelfish and bettas in your tank, installing a tank divider might just be the way to go. It helps avoid any conflict between the fish, but it does cut down on swimming space for everybody, and it doesn't look as nice in a regular aquarium. Online stores sell tank dividers, but you can make one yourself if you want to save some cash for that next tank upgrade. Once your fish are separated, it's time to jazz up the environment with some hiding spots and structures to break up their views. Throw some live plants in and dither fish for good measure. Your other option is starting a new aquarium. If you're thinking about adding a bettafish to your life, you're in for a treat. Unlike angelfish, which need a lot more swimming space, a single betta can thrive in a cozy 5-gallon tank. This setup is typically budget-friendly and super easy for beginners. Just keep in mind, if you want to add some buddies into the mix, you're going to want to bump up the tank size to at least 10 gallons. Male bettas are pretty happy solo, while female bettas can live happily on their own or in groups known as sororities in a bigger tank. There are some cool betta tank kits out there, but you can also DIY one if you wish. Just remember to grab a heater and a filter for your tank. If you've already got a cycled aquarium, you can speed things up by using some beneficial bacteria from that tank in your new filter. Don't forget to keep an eye on your water parameters with a test kit though. It is key to keeping your inhabitants happy and healthy. And finally, your last option might be to just rehome. So, you've got a fish not hitting it off with your other fish, huh? That's a bummer, especially if you have a small tank and you don't have any spare ones to put a betta or angelfish in. Before you decide to put the fish up for adoption, try to give your local fish store a quick call. While they may not accept a refund, they might consider taking in your fish, which is better than risking some drama in your current setup. If they don't take your fish, you can try to reach out to your fellow fish keepers and enthusiasts. They might just have a perfect spot for your little swimmer. Whatever you do, just make sure that fishy friend finds a safe space to splash around. It can be quite difficult to keep two fish species that do not get along. And although there are temporary fixes to this problem, it could eventually come to a point where you need to find a new home for one of them. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and click the bell icon to be updated with our latest videos. Also, check out our website for everything and anything aquarium hobby related. Or better yet, click on the next video to your right. Until the next time, we'll see ya.